Hi, if you want to learn about the Redis, or if you want to learn what are the basic Redis commands, or want to use Redis server along with the Node.js client with or with the JavaScript, if you have answered any of the questions, then this course is for you. So before moving ahead, this is a beginner course. So you don't need any Redis previous knowledge. And however, if you are going to learn about the Node.js, then basic JavaScript knowledge must be there for writing the simple syntax over there. That is not a big thing. So if you are not looking for that, you can skip those lectures or you can skip those videos. So let's get started. What is Redis? The first question. So Redis stands for a redirectory server. It's an open source BSD license, and BSD license means these are the those requires the less restrictions on the open source softwares. Redis is an open source in-memory data structures tool and used as a distributed in-memory key value database. Initially, Redis was only used for the caching purpose, but over the time it got changed to the primary database. It was written in C and it is a NoSQL database. So in NoSQL database means the databases which don't require the tables. We can write the data or we can store the data in the format in which we want. So now the questions come, why should we use the Redis? The first and the simple answer for this question will be Redis is fast using its own memory feature, and which makes it different from the traditional databases, because the traditional databases uses the memory and hard disk both for the storing the data. Since the Redis is only use memory, so the retrieval of the data from the memory, say like the data retrieval from your ROM, is much more easier. Second, it stores in a very organized data structures like links, set, hash maps, and many more. Redis don't uses the most advanced features of your traditional databases like foreign key constraints, triggers, which we have in the traditional databases, rollbacks. Data structure constraint we don't have because it's a NoSQL database, and there is a no hardware storage also required for the data. So that's what makes Redis very fast. Now the questions comes, what Redis offers other than the fast feature. So we in the Redis, first one is main concept like memory cache storage. We can use also for the session storage. Then we can use for storing the real-time databases. I will give you the example, like if we want to create lead scoreboard, then we can use Redis as a real-time data storage. For streaming and messaging we can use, and also the Redis is highly available. And in this course we will be installing the Redis on the server, and we can interact also with the Redis CLI. Other than that, Redis module or its extension can be used with the multiple programming languages like Node.js, PHP, C, .NET, and we have many more. So let me open the Redis official website to the resources section and click on the clients. You can see a list in which the all the languages where the Redis is supported. Told you that it is supported in the C we can use, and then we have Java, then Node.js, JavaScript, I told you, PHP, and many more languages we have. So this is all for this lecture. In the next upcoming lectures we'll be going to install the Redis in the machine, and also going to install or use the Redis server for the Node.js client. Type Redis IO. So once the site is loaded, you have to go to the get started, click on the get started, and now you will be directly prompted to this screen. If it is not coming for you, go for the get started and you will be able to see Redis install. So here the installation steps are given for the different machines, or we can do for the installation in the Windows server. There is no official document, but there is a way we can download the Redis on the Windows. So for that you need to install WSL2, but this I'm not going to show you. So you can go through this document and can do the installation part. And those who want to just download the installation for the Mac operating system, they can go to these steps. I had created a separate video that the link will be in the I button, so you can install the home prio. Now I will be showing this video which will be similar for the Ubuntu or for the Linux or for the Mac OS. So for this I'm going to install from the source. So in this there are the several commands which we are going to follow in this lecture for the installation of the Redis. So these are the few commands. Okay, so let's start the download for the Redis. For that, first we need to download the stable version of the Redis from this URL. But before that, so let's create a folder in your desktop by the name of the Redis and open up your terminal. First we have to move to the folder which we have created in the desktop. So let's do the Redis desktop /Redis. So now we are in the folder which we have created, and now we're going to paste this command. And sometimes the wget does not work very well with the Mac or with the Linux, so for that we are going to change with a curl hyphen capital O, and now click enter or a return from this one, and the download will get happen. So it will not take that much time. Now when we are going to do ls, you will see that one tar file will be there, and now we are going to unzip this one. So for unzipping we are going back to our official document, and here it is written, here the command is given like how to unzip that particular file. So copy that particular command and do paste, and this is tar. And let's see, we can see two things. One is the Redis folder and another is our tar. So now we have to move to the our new folder. So now let me clear this one. So now do a cd Redis reference stable, because this is what the name of the folder is. Now we are inside that. Here, as per the documentation, we have to now do a make. Let's click write the make command. Yeah, so it will do some of the basic installation or some of the checks over there. So it will take couple of minutes. Now moving to the documentation back, it's saying that now we have to do the make install, but sometimes make install doesn't work. Before that, we are going to run a command make test, which is also suggesting by this terminal. So let's do a make test. So once it is done, then we are going to do a make install. So this is again going to take a couple of minutes. So once it is done, I will come back and will start again for the make install command. So if you are getting all test pass without error, so your make test command is successful, and now we are ready to go for the make install command. So let's do a make install. But sometimes you might be getting this error like permission is denied when you are running the make install command. So for that you can use sudo, which will invoke your user permission. So you will be asked for writing your system credentials if you have, or giving system credentials. So you are ready to go. Your make installation is done. Now let's click on the Redis server. So let's see whether our installation is successful or not. If you are seeing this, your installation is successful. Now I'm going to open another terminal. So here in this terminal, let's move back to the desktop folder for the Redis which we have created. Let me do a So this time we have another folder inside this Redis folder by the name of the Redis table, which we got the name when we are installing the Redis server. So click on the return. So you are inside that folder. Now do a Redis CLI. So if you are seeing this Angular, or you are seeing the IP and the port, so your server is installed successfully, and do a ping over here. And when you hit on the return, if you are getting the POM, then your CLI is also working properly and your server is installed properly. So let me tell you what is This two things are telling you. But first one, I will tell you about the port. So this is the default port in which the Redis server is hosted. So 6379. So if you have installed in your system, then you will be also seeing this port number, and this one is the local host. We are going to discuss about the data persistence options available in the Redis. Straightforward, Redis uses the memory for the fast access of your data. There are the two options available in the Redis. One is RDB and another is AOF. RDB stands for Redis database file. So RDB is a straightforward. So it takes snapshots of your data and write in the RDB file. So over the time, this data can be accessed in the disaster recovery. How the snapshot is being taken in the RDB is what Redis do. It takes a snapshot on the time basis or over the number of the data present. By default, this option is enabled, and we can see this option in the redis.config file which comes with the Redis. So now I am in my Visual Studio Code or in my editor. So when you will search for the Redis config, it will be present in your Redis table folder. So inside this one, search for snapshot. So I'm looking for this option snapshot. Once you open that, here you can see that by default RDB is enabled. After an hour, like if one change is performed, then take the snapshot. And similarly, if there are the 100 changes, take the screenshots after 5 minutes, or if there are the 1000 changes, take it after 60. Also, we can explicitly define R values. This option comes here. When you will remove this one, this option will get enabled. And to stop the RDB, to stop this process, you have to simply enable this option. Just do save with a double quotes and RDB will be stopped. I will revert back the changes because I need that. So now the second options come AOF. So AOF logs each and every operation in the system file. So Redis server is when started, it builds the data through these files. This
By
option is
default, this
not
option is
available.
not enabled.
So AOF, what it do? It use logs to rebuild the Redis dataset. So Redis is very smart in ending the file operation. So over the time when the data becomes huge, what Redis do? Create a new version, and the older version is synced to the small size, and it only gets used when you are about to read data. So same, you can enable this option also from the redis.config. So Redis is a memory store and it have the different data structure types. So the data types which can be used in the Redis are string, hashes, list. Then we can store the geo indexes, and then HyperLogLog we can store. In Redis, these are the different data types. So keys are something similar to object in a JavaScript key value, basically, which is used to give the name of the key. So here I have given the example like country. Country is a key, and whereas US is a value. Now moving to the second string. String, the typical string values which we use. So in the above example, you can see country, key, and value inside the double quotes or the single quotes. So lists are used to store these strings. So these are the similar to the array to store the multiple values. Hashes. So these are similar to the JavaScript objects or basic objects which we use. Redis hash we use to store the key value pair. The fifth point, set data type, is the collection of the unordered unique strings. Suppose I have a multiple phone. One is Nokia, Samsung, iPhone. So these are the unique strings, but it can be stored in an unordered fashion. So iPhone can come at the first or it can become at the last. So now moving to our last data type, sorted set. These are similar to the sets, but here the data are stored in a ordered format. Now suppose I want to store the alphabetically, or I want to store based on some different condition, so that we can do in the sorted string. So in next, so these data types I will be going to explain you and going to write the commands. So now the actual journey of Redis starts. So where we are mostly going to see the Redis CLI or we are going to see the Visual Studio Code. So both the node and Redis CLI we are going to use. For this one, open the Redis CLI if you are getting IP and the port when your CLI is running. So now we have the simple requirement where we are going to store a string value in the Redis. So for that we simply need a set. As soon as you will give the command, Redis will give you a suggestion. So now seeing this, we need to give a key where I want my name and it should have some value. So I will give James. So now you just click on enter or return. You will get OK. Once you are getting the OK, which means your value is now stored in the Redis server. And now to access that value, we just simply need to type get, and you can see we are getting the key. So here key is that property which we have set in a set command. So here it is name, so I will type a name. So now when I click on this, you will get back a string which is by the name as a James. Now I want to give you another example, like I want to store the address of a James, but in this we have the address like he lives in 1/2 New York, US. So there you can see there is a break. So storing such a values, we need to have a code. So I will give as a space New York, US, and now click on the return. So this is how you will be able to store these strings which contains the white spaces. Now to get the address, simply type get address, and now you will be able to see. Now the questions comes, what if I had not given the single quotes or the double quotes? I will show you that. Just type New York, US. Here you will get the syntax error because it will take the address as a New York, but there will be a one unknown command which Redis will predict that this is an unknown command, so it will give you the syntax error. So for those strings which have the white spaces, you need to give it in single or the double quotes. And now to clear this, the code which we have written, we can simply type clear and we'll be able to see a clean slate. Now the third command which we are going to see is the delete command. Suppose I have set a value name. I now wanted to delete that key. So you can simply write del and you can give your name. With this delete, you have the functionality to delete the multiple key values. So now I also want to delete that. 2 is an integer, like 2 values are deleted. Now once we have deleted, if we try to access that, let's see what it gives. It gives nil, which means that there is a no value for that particular key. So now let's suppose I want the multiple keys which are stored, because over the time that key value will be get huge and you will have a record whether this key is present or not. So for that we have the command by name as a keys, and we can give the pattern. So like there can be 100 of keys present, so I just wanted the keys which starts with A. So we have the pattern options also available, but before to this I just need to create some of the keys. So now we are going to set the keys for, let's give the name as a James, then set he lives in 1/2 street, then in which state he lives, set state New York, then I'm going to set the country US. So now I wanted all the keys which I have stored. So simply I can do keys, and like if I wanted the all the keys, you can give the star and click on that. You will be getting what all the keys are present. Like country, we set the key country, then we given a state, then address, then a name. Now moving to our another command is set ex. So set ex is used for storing a key value for the specific time. Now suppose I wanted the key only for the 5 seconds to be stay in my database. So for that I can give the time, and like suppose ex I have to do, then it gives you the hint what you have to write. So let's give a name 1, and then I just need for the 5 seconds and then value as a mic. So once you do a get name 1, you will see the values there, and as soon as the time spent it you will get a nil. Now that value is been removed. The timer is expired and the value will be also by default it will be get removed. Sometimes we don't know like whether this key is present or not. So suppose I will be doing a next, then I have already a one key, so the key should be unique. Again I'm giving as a mic. Let's see, I will be get a zero integer because key as a name is already present. Now suppose if I give as a name as a 1, it will first check whether that key is present or not, then it will store. So in this case I am getting as a 1, which means true, so it will store my value. Now I will do a get name 1. So you can see I am getting a mic over here. So in the same way we have a increment command also. Let first clear this, and now we are going to use the increment command. So suppose I have a one different address 1, and it's only a 1. So now I want to increase the address, so I can simply do address 1, and in incr the value will be incremented only by 1. So we have stored the 1, so the next value will be 2. So now if I get the address 1, you will see the 2 is stored. Again I will increase, it will be 3. So similarly we have a decrease, and now I'm going to show you the last two commands where I wanted to store the multiple key values in a single command. So doing a set multiple times, it's a hectic process. Now I have a requirement where I wanted to store these values in a one line, so we can use these things like car is Honda, year, the manufacturing year is 220. So this is how I can set the multiple key values. Now to get all these together, similar command and get is there, and we need to give the all the keys. So you will be able to see our string values over there. Hashes. Hashes data type holds the collection of field value pairs. Also, we can use hashes as a representation of a basic objects. So now I will show you one slide how the hashes representations looks. So in this slide you can see we have a field value. So you can imagine it like an SQL table where we have a one company. Suppose that is a key, and in company we have employees. So one will become as a field and his or her name will be value. Similarly employee 2 and his or her name. So in hash we can store the multiple field values up to the billions. Now we'll move to the Redis CLI and there will start. I will be covering up the few basic Redis commands. Let's start with our first command at set. So most of the command in the hashes are similar to the string commands, but before any command we need to add a h, which is a representation of a hash, and now your data will be stored in a hash format. As we discussed about table structure, we'll take a table name as a company, then we have a employee 1 whose name is James, then employee 2 whose name is Max, and similarly we can have our third employee Jack. Now click on return or enter. Your value will be stored, and how many fields value is being created in that particular hash, you will be identified by the integer as a return value. So I have stored the 3 field values. Now to get that, we will simply do the hget and write the company. In this hash, as you've seen that hget company will not work because we need to give the field also. Hget then company and which field we want. Employee one I want. So once I click on return, you will get the value. Similarly, if I want to get like a company employee 3 data or 2, then it will give me the max. Now if I want the multiple data, I don't want to do hget every time. So I can do get. Similarly, within strings we used to do the mset or mget for the multiple values. Here we have to do the hmget. You have to give the name of your hash key. Then you can give like employee 1, employee 2, then we have employee 3. Click on enter and you will get, okay, I have done one mistake. Here I have not an employee 3, I have only employee. So you can see if I give a wrong value, it will give you a null because I don't have any value with the employee 3. Now you can see James, Max and Jack. Now let's create another hash map where I want to store the details of employee 1. And now I'm going to give the field as his address, his age, or a name. So let's start like name James, his age is 20, or his address is 1/2. So I will give 1/2 street. And let's suppose his employee ID is 1. Let's do enter. I save the 4 field value pairs, so it is 4. Let's see whether it's got saved or not. I will give employee 1, then name. It's James coming. My data is saved in the DB, that is DB. And now another command which is mget all. So in this you will get all the field values present in that particular key or in that hash map. So I have that one employee. You need not to give any field name. Once you click enter, I don't have again any employee. Now I will give a just of 1 and let me click 1. So here you have to look that we get a name, then we get a James, similarly age, then 20. First the field is coming and then its value is coming. Now the last command for this video I will be going to cover is search increment by. So here you have to give like which key you want to go inside and then which address and what field you want to increment. Now in the case I want to increment the employee ID by 1. Okay, let me click on enter and you will get the integer 2. It has given you the incremented value, but did it change the value or not? Let's see. So for this command I will be using hget and then employee 1 and employee ID. You can see the value is incremented by 2. Another data type of a Redis which is list. So it helps in storing the string values and also can be implemented as a stack or as a queue, and also can be used for queuing the messages. So now we're going to cover some of the few basic list commands in the Redis. So we are going to see how we can push the element inside the list, how to check the length, how to pop, how to check the range, how to do the indexing. So let's get started. So now let's open the Redis CLI And let's start with the let's create a list. So for that we are going to use our first command, which is our push. So let's see in Word which countries we have. We have US, UK, India. Now to enter, we can get three values are inside my list. So I'm getting an integer as a 3, which is telling me the count of the number of elements present in my list. Now I forgot one of my country, so I can do again an R push and we'll do a word. Then let's write France. Do enter and you will get a count of elements present in my list. And let's see what values are inside my list. So for that, let's use another command, that is lrange. We have to give our list name, then the start index, and now for the stop. So -1 represent the last index of my list. Now to enter, you will get all the values which are present in my list. Now if you want to check the length, so you can simply do L, which is list length, len, and then you have to give the list name word and click on enter. You will get the number of elements present in my list. Now if I push another element, let's say Germany, I get a 5, and let's check the length, it's 5. So now in this video we are going to discuss about the two new commands, which is the lpop and the rpop, which are used for removing the elements from the list. So let's see what all the elements are present in my list. For that I'm going to do a lrange word 01, and you can see we have US, UK, India, France, Germany, and now I'm going to use the lpop, which means the removing the element from the left. So in the left we have the US, so to remove that we are going to use lword, and in their count, which means that how many numbers of the elements you want to remove. For that you can give any count you want. So in the lpop it's going to remove the first element, and now let's see what is present in our list. So it has removed the US from our list. Now I want to remove Germany from my list, which is on the left side, if you can imagine. So I will be doing rpop, then word. So it has removed the Germany. Now let's see what is in my list again. UK, India, France. So this is how we can work to remove elements from array. In the similar way, like if you want to insert the element in the left side, so for that you can do L push, and I will be adding a country which I already removed, which is US. So adding the US, and you can see again my list count is changed. Let's see what is inside my list, and you can see US is back. So pushing the elements from the left side, you have to use the L push. If you want to push the element from the right side, means from the last index, you have to do the R push. Let me clear this. Now if you want to insert an element in between of the list, then in case of such scenarios you have an option available as a L insert. So here you have to give the word and from where you want to insert, which means like the before or after. So suppose in the above example we have the US, UK in our list. Let's see what is inside my list. So we have US, UK, India, France. So now I want to insert the element before India. So for that I will be using L insert, then I have to give the list name, and I wanted to enter it before, so I will give here as a before. Then I need to give, so I have India, and I want that my another country Spain should be before India, so I need to give before. Here make sure that what the value is present, that value need to give it here, because value is a case sensitive. You have to give India, and then you do a insert, and your value is now inserted. Let's see what is inside our list. Now you can see Spain is inserted in my list. Now if I want another country below the India, so for that I just need to change it after, and here I want the value as an Australia. So your country is inserted, and we have the count of 6 elements present. So set is an unordered collection of a unique strings. We can't create a duplicate strings, and it is used for storing the unique items, or it can be used to represent relations. We'll get start with writing some of the few set commands. So for that we'll go to our Redis CLI, and we'll start with our first command, that is sadd. So now let's create a set. So for that we are going to add some of the members in our set. So the command which we have for adding the elements or the members are sadd. And now let's write the Asia, and let's give the members present in our Asia. So we have India, China, Pakistan. Now do I enter? So all the values are entered. To check which values are present, we have to do as members and then give our key name. So it will give you the result of the members present in our set. And now to again add, simply we can do the same command which is add, and we can use Sri Lanka. So enter. So if it is giving you the 1, the value is added. Let's check again. So we have Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, and India. Now to check whether a particular member is present or not, I want to check whether India is present in my set or not. So for that I'm going to do is member MEMBR, and then we need to give the Asia and what value I want to check. I want to check the India. I did a mistake for writing Asia. So let's do Asia correctly. Now it's giving me the one. Now if I just change it within another country, and now let's give it a name as a Burma. If it is giving the 0, which means that a member is not present in our set, and if it is 1, which means the member is present in my set. Now let's clear this and get the members. Now if I want to check how many elements are present in my set, so for that I can simply use sCard and give your key Asia, and you will get a count. I have 4 countries: Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, China, and it just giving me the result as before. Now we're going to discuss about another command. So to remove the member from and set, we are going to use the command spop, and here I need to give a key, and here you need to give the how many elements you want to remove. So it's an optional command. I want to give a 1, and let's see what it's going to remove. It has removed the Pakistan. Now I'm going to show you another command which is union store. It is used for copying the element of the one set to the another. So now if I want to copy members from the Asia to the another list which is word, and then after from where you want to copy, I wanted to copy it from the Asia to enter, and you get a 3 because we have removed the Pakistan. So 3 members are present in our Asia. Let's check what members are in our world. Let's check what all the members are present in our world. Members, and give the your key, and you get Sri Lanka, India, and China. Sorted set is an ordered collection of a unique string by associated score, which means that your strings will be get sorted by a score and this score is given by the user. Now when two strings are having the same score, in that case it gets sorted by lexicographically. Sorted sets can be used in example like request limiter for API, and also it can be used for the high scoreboard or a lead board where you want to store the player name who have scored the more, and the order depends on you. So these are the some few basic commands which I'm going to cover. So let's get start by creating a sorted set. So for that, open your Redis CLI and we are going to start with S. For that, I'm going to create a set where I will be going of my phone collection which I have been using. So for that, let's do a SZ. All the commands for the sorted sets are going to start with the set, and now we are going to give a like phone collection. Now let's give a score. My first phone, my score is 1 because my first phone was Nokia. Then I started using Samsung, and the current phone which I am using is iPhone. Let's hit an enter or return. So you can see the three values got inserted, which means first score and Nokia, then second value is 2 Samsung, and 4. So now let's check what the values are inside my sorted set. Let's do set range for this, and here my key is phone collection, and for this one we need to give the start and a stop index. Now let's hit enter. So you can see I got my members which are stored in my set, and you can see my first phone was Nokia, and second is Samsung, third is iPhone. Now if I want it with my scores, so for that we need to give with scores. So you can see Nokia was first, Samsung is second, and iPhone is fourth. Now I intentionally missed my third phone which I had used to show whether it's also stored in a sorted format or not. So now I'm going to add a new member, which is my third phone I was using is 1 plus. Now hit and return, and one value is inserted. Now we are going to check. You can see it by default they took the third place, and with score you can it's up. And now if again I try to enter that, since it also holds the unique value, so I will not get an entry in my set and I will get as a 0. So now let's check my members with scores, and you can see first was Nokia, second was Samsung, third was OnePlus, and fourth was iPhone. Now if I want it in a descending order, so for that we just need to give reverse REV, and you will get a reverse value iPhone 4, OnePlus. And now if you don't want the score, you can just simply remove. So let's see what all the members we have. We have a range, phone collection, a start index, a stop index. These are the values. And now I don't want to use our reverse in my command. So for that we have one command with RV range, reverse range. It is similar. Instead of writing within command itself, it's a command r rev range. So same pattern we have to give 0, -1, and it is going to give you the reverse input of your members. So now I want to check like which is my second and the third phone. So for that I can use r range by score. So for that phone collection, then I'm going to give my second and a third. I'm getting the result as a second as a OnePlus and third is Samsung. Here you can also give like some events which occurred in a particular year, and you have created a set for that. So you can give the your year minimum and max, and you can get the values or the members within that particular score. So that's all for this video.